Hi, class. Welcome to week 2. I'm recording on January 22nd. We're going to be talking about chapter 2 this week. We'll see what that's all about. I want to just bring up some things as we're early on. Don't fret or get worried with your scores in Pearson when you actually type something. That means that's something I've chosen to grade myself, and it'll show up as a 0 for you until I grade it. I got a lot of emails about our first lecture assignment. I also had a few questions on where to find things like our passcode to our video and our link. So each week, if we go to content, and let me share my screen. If we go to Brightspace and we go to content, this menu comes up. All of your assignments are contained in here, and you should launch them from here. So if we go to week 2 Pearson, our lecture response is here. This is something you'll type. I'll grade like I did today. I graded all of chapter 1's work, and you move on right down the line. And here was week 1. Similar format through the entire semester. So again, lecture response in our final. You may not see a grade right away, but give me some time and I'll grade it and you'll get your grade. Also, we had a few people not turning your work. Unless you have a valid excuse, I'm not going to take it this semester. I've created a lot of overload for myself by being flexible with deadlines. I don't really have it in me time-wise to do that with such a large class. But if there's a medical issue, personal issue, of course I'm going to be empathetic. But right now, the few of us that didn't do our work for chapter 1 will see 0s in Pearson. They sync all the time, but it's a running grade. So if you want to see where you stand in the grade and your grade, go to the Pearson grade book. Collapse that. Our PowerPoints and our video lectures will be in here, as I think everyone but 2 or 3 did the video response. For chapter 1, here's where our lecture was. Our passcode is right here, and the slides are right here. If you go ahead, I do have last semester's videos here. What I do is each week I'll delete this and present our new slides, which is where we are with chapter 2 today, which I already have running on my screen. So I'm going to launch it now. Of course, any questions, please text or email me. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. So this is an introductory chapter that's really going to set the stage for us for chapters 9 through 12. We're going to see what business processes are and how they're related to information systems. We're going to see how systems serve different groups in a business. We're going to start looking at enterprise systems. We're going to look at some collaboration and some social business tools. And we're going to see the role of the IT function within a business. Our first real case study deals with social networking. Read it. It's a good case. I'm going to show a quick video on social networking for the enterprise with this video, which we'll watch now. You see, this was put out as a promotional tool for Rutgers.
Social media technologies, such as blogs, Facebook, wikis, and Twitter, have enhanced interpersonal relationships by helping people stay connected with both close ties and distant acquaintances. More recently, these technologies have permeated the workplace. Employees have started using social media tools to maintain workplace relationships. But the usefulness of such tools at work remains unclear. Many scholars and practitioners believe social media will increase open communication and knowledge sharing in the workplace. They argue that enterprise social media can help locate expertise in relevant content, build relationships, and increase awareness of others, especially among dispersed employees. However, while social media may indeed afford these benefits, its excessive openness may also promote covert behavior and limit knowledge sharing. Those who exaggerate the benefits of social media for open knowledge sharing, the ideology of openness, overlook the ways in which open communication is not always good or desirable in organizations. In fact, disclosure of sensitive, negative, or face-threatening information can be quite risky. For example, if managers are too open about layoffs or crisis situations, it may weaken employee morale. Through a field study of engineers working for a distributed high-tech startup, we found that excessive openness of social media created tensions for workers. Workers developed communication strategies to manage tensions between openness and ambiguity by setting their status to invisible on Skype chat to remain available while working undisturbed, keeping many Skype group chat windows open to limit input to where it was needed, sharing selectively to avoid jeopardizing their position as experts, and storing confidential documents in external tools such as Google Docs, and locking down privacy settings to restrict access. Enterprise social media is not just used for open knowledge sharing, but for covert and strategically ambiguous purposes as well. To find out more about the work of Professor Jennifer Gibbs and her research team, visit them online.
We'll talk more about enterprise social networking towards the end of our chapter today. I'll give you some experiences I have with Greystone. We were a little more social during COVID, where we would use the tools we have in place, like Ring Central or Teams or Microsoft Yammer. But since we've come back to a hybrid approach, I've seen collaboration really go back to non-existent and teams working in silos again. Hopefully our management will find a way to correct this. We start our real nuts and bolts of our semester seeing what a business process is. We do so because that's what IT professionals, namely programmers, will take from you to build a system to make you successful. There are flows of information or knowledge. In general, it's how you do your job. The last bullet here is very important. They may be assets or liabilities. You may say, Al, why would my means of doing my work be a liability? Well, let's look and see if any of us have ever had a bad grade on an exam. If you have, you probably did something wrong in your preparation. Or I'll go to my Buffalo Bills last night and their loss to Kansas City, which I've kind of been obsessing over. They deviated from their standard business process as a more pass-centric and made it more run-centric to mask problems in their organization, particularly on the defensive side. That defense was a liability in this game, but also the offense and their change of emphasis turned out to be a liability as well. And now they're cleaning out lockers and getting ready to play golf while the Chiefs are getting ready to go to Baltimore. A business is a lot of things. It's a collection of business processes. More importantly, it's a collection of people with those business processes, all aligned under a common headquarters and a mission. We're going to look at a bunch of business processes and systems to help with those processes, but some are assembling a product or identifying customers, creating financial statements, running accounts payable and receivable, hiring and firing employees, or dispersing benefits or HR purposes. In my world, a typical IT process may be how we support our customers, or building a knowledge bank so our customers can maybe help themselves. This just depicts one flow of what a particular business process would be. This is how we fulfill an order in a manufacturing company. We can see we have 3 departments. Typically, they would each have their own management information system to handle their part of this flow. So we would have sales with generating order and submitting it. Then that system would have to talk to another system to be able to check credit, approve it or deny it, and generate an invoice. And lastly, another system would tell us to make it and ship it. We're going to look at enterprise resource tools where we're going to see one source of data instead of 3 sources of data to align all 3 of these business units in one application that can do customer relationship management, that can do supply chain management, and can do e-commerce. How IT should improve business process? Well, we should make our people more efficient by doing a few things. We can actually test the efficiency of a business process through analytical tools, or we can automate steps that were manual, thus allowing the employee to do something else. Being able to automate that, we can see here. We can eliminate delays in decision-making. We can change the way information flows. More importantly, we may be able to start a new business model, i.e. Google being so good at what they do, search engines, that they were able to do Google Drive. Our next few slides talk about our hierarchy. If we remember last week, we have the pyramid with senior management, middle management, and operational management. We're going to see some different types of systems in the next few slides and where they fit into that pyramid. The first is a transaction processing system, or a TPS. They serve the lower level of the hierarchy. Those operational managers, their staff, and middle managers that support those operational managers. These are day-to-day activities. We make a few types of decision-making, which we'll go into in chapter 11, but we have structured, semi-structured, and unstructured decision-making. TPS supports structured decision-making. This is a prime example of a transaction processing system. It's a simple payroll system. And in our class, when we see diagrams like this, rectangles will represent the MIS. Cylinders will go to what's called the database. We talked about data being raw facts that needs to be processed to turn into information last week. Well, database is just a collection of like records, all defined by what's called an entity. And we're going to learn entity is a noun, a person, place, or thing. All supported by what's called attributes or adjectives, which we see here. So we have an employee database with an employee number all the way down to years, year-to-date earnings. All of these describe the data in this employee system. Well, we start off at a computer with some maybe payroll clerk or HR person putting in a request to our payroll system to start the payroll process. So we say, hey, we need Al's payroll data. So the tech types in Al Macker. We find me in the database. We calculate, that's what gross pay all the way down to year to date, or what's called derived attributes, where they're used to calculate what's populated here. So my pay rate times the hours I work gives me my gross pay, and then we make deductions throughout. From there, the transaction processing system will pay me. It'll send the tax information to the state and federal government. It'll deduct my pay from general ledger or cash flow. And lastly, management can get reports on payroll. Business intelligence tools are usually held at the middle management layer, and they support management information systems and decision support systems, and to a degree, an executive support system. So ESSs support that C-suite, the top level of our organization, while we use BI and AI to make trends in that data to support the dashboards and scorecards we give ESS. The primary driver of this data is the middle layer through management information systems and decision support systems. MIS, like I said, serves middle managers. Very little analytical capability. It's really getting data from our transaction processing system to make decisions up to a year out. So think of, we're working a retail job, say, I don't know where, some store that's still open and not closed, and we plan to be open next January. So we're going to take sales data from this January and predict what we're going to do next January and say, here's how many employees we need to work on January 22nd, 2025. Decision support systems are totally driven towards middle managers, enabling more people to make decisions based off of good data. Good data, when processed, leads to good information. And our goal here is to shrink our organization and enable more people to make decisions. Like I already explained executive support systems, so I won't move on with those. Going back to our slide here, I referenced how we can align all three of these business units under one set of data. And that's what I call an enterprise application or an ERP. We capture all the business processes in one tool, and we build out modules that support our entire organization. We're going to see a short little video on an ERP I use in Greystone called NetSuite from Oracle. It has modules that can do supply chain management. And we're going to see supply chain management is the process of managing raw materials through a product's production and its logistics path from manufacturer to customer. We're going to see customer relationship management as well as supply chain management in Chapter 9. CRM is how we build that customer supplier intimacy we so strive for in an organization. We have knowledge management systems which enable us to disseminate knowledge across our organization. All can be modules within a enterprise resource planning tool. We can also have e-commerce, and we can have social enterprise networking. There's the NetSuite video I promised.
Business conditions are changing and your business is adapting, and all of this is happening fast. To be a next level company, you need next level visibility and control across your entire business. NetSuite gives you just that. With its suite of cloud-based applications like financials, ERP, HR, CRM, and e-commerce, NetSuite helps organizations of any size across any industry in every part of the world be more productive and efficient by automating business processes and delivering a more complete, integrated picture of their business. It's everything you need, all in one place. It far exceeds what spreadsheets and point solutions can do without piling on integrations, costs, and complexities. And because NetSuite is built in the cloud, all of your critical accounting and operational information is accessible from anywhere at any time and on any device. Businesses get instant visibility into financials, inventory, supply chain, orders, customers, and more, giving you the control to make smart decisions in real time. Plus, NetSuite is quick and easy to deploy and grows as your business grows, whether you're running your company from the kitchen table or from the corner office. NetSuite lets you focus on what you do best, building a successful business.
That gives you a little glimpse into one particular ERP.
Business conditions.
Like I said, they integrate data across our organization into one system. We're going to learn about databases and database management systems in chapter 6. So we'll see how we manage that data to be able to populate into an ERP. We should have faster information throughout the firm, less bad data, less data anomalies, I'll call them. We should have faster time responding to our customers and filling their orders. We should enable a better view of our organization, both operationally and strategically. But I think the most important thing here is one source of data enabling our entire organization. These are very costly systems. They take a long time to develop. I found it's almost comical that the video said NetSuite is quick and easy to deploy. It is not quick and easy to deploy. It is quite a heavy lift to get to production, but once there, the tool is seamless and is one of the best out there. We talked about supply chain management, how we're managing a relationship with our suppliers, our manufacturers, and our customers. We'll dive more into this in chapter 9, as will we with customer relationship management. Marketing people and salespeople are main targets of CRM, but more and more organizations are looking internally at whom their customers are and giving CRM systems to like facilities people, to IT people, to enable better communication with our employees. And we'll see that enterprise social networks are probably a better way to do that than through CRM. Knowledge management system I already talked about, to chapter 11, I believe, on KMS. Knowledge is a tricky thing to be able to capture because we get it from two places. We get it explicitly in physical documents and implicitly from people's heads. So we want to disseminate what's in our heads to be able to enable our learning in our organization. So learning management systems like Brightspace feed off of KMS. We've already learned a bit about the internet. We know the internet is the main source of, I'm not going to say main source, sorry. The internet's the world's largest network. And we're going to learn about networks in chapter 7. Network is simply two or more computers talking to each other. A subset of that internet, which we all know and love, is called an intranet. The easiest way for me to teach you about intranet is to bring up MyMarist. MyMarist.edu is an intranet. It's only open to the Marist community. That means employees, faculty, part-time faculty, alumni, and students. No one else has access to MyMarist, and it's a portal. It's a place where we get information from different parts of our organization. And it's fed by a few systems. Banner is the one you will interact with most. An extranet, so intra means internal, extranet means outside. So an extranet is a piece of the internet where we as Marist allow another company, say Barnes & Noble, into our network to see our data to be able to enable some kind of electronic data interchange. And with Barnes & Noble, we manage our bookstore, both physical and virtual, with that extranet in mind. E before anything means electronic. And we really focus on e-commerce. E-commerce is the set of e-business for buying and selling goods through the internet for cash, Bitcoin, or some other type of barter type system. So e-business is the foundation of a digital firm, a company whose primary business model is driven by the internet. E-government will get friendly with it in April when we start filing our taxes, or any month where we're renewing our car registrations or our driver's license. Any interaction with our government through computer is, or mobile device is e-government. We'll look very deeply into e-commerce in chapter 10. Our author then takes us into collaboration. But collaboration is either short or long term, informal or formal. So in our class, we have a short-lived formal collaboration to do our dirt bikes work. And that's my lecture question of the day. In your careers here at Marist, how have you found groups to be? How did they work? How successful were they? What could you have, as a group member, done better to make that collaboration more valuable? Because there is a definite benefit in collaboration, something I wish I knew more of in the early parts of my career, where I really like to work alone. And it kind of makes sense. My undergraduate background really dealt with computer programming, where I didn't take my career that way. I went more operations, but I like the thrill of doing things on my own, not needing help. But once I got to Marist and started working in groups for undergrad work, we had no group work. I started to succeed. I started to move up that corporate ladder, get all the way up to a vice president level with some core guarantee before they started what's called runoff. We do better work when we work as teams because we leverage not only the knowledge of our group members, but we are impacted by their culture and their politics to be able to give a better result to our organization. That leads us into social business, the use of social networking tools to engage employees, customers, and suppliers. I totally agree. At Greystone, we use Ring Central and Yammer to engage with our employees along with Microsoft Teams. However, we don't do a good business, not a good business, sorry. We don't do a good job with interacting this way. Greystone's still stuck a little bit in the past of siloed work. So we need to keep working to have that user base use the tools we have to make life easier for ourselves. Through collaboration, as I kind of said, we should have better work, more productive people, better ideas. We should have better customer service. All those things added together should give us a improved financial performance. In addition, it should also help our pockets because with more productivity and quality innovation, that means at evaluation time, which happens usually every year, we're going to be evaluated quite highly and we'll get more bonus or merit increases, which is always something we think about in the workforce. Here's a video on Slack. I use Slack with my work at Mount St. Mary's. It's a social enterprise social networking tool. And this is a very new marketing video from them.
The client moved the meeting.
To today.
Meeting? It's a meeting. A big meeting. And we've got no time to spare. We should probably have a meeting about having a meeting to make sure we're all prepared.
Or we could just huddle in Slack.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Good morning.
We need water, still and sparkling. We need hummus folks can numb. We need 7 new assistants to go through 6 weeks of comms.
Or Slack can summarize it, like this.
We need everybody searching through their files and emails, please. We need stats and facts and data to build fancy graphs like these.
Hannah, how are you doing on the proposal? Putting it together in the canvas, and
We're all set.
We need lighting. What's a playlist? It's too much. I can't keep track. I need these and those and them and that. And I need Slack.
because when you work in Slack,
Your deals close so easily.
You don't need a big production to get productivity.
That's an advertisement for their new AI piece that they integrated with Slack. But it showed us quite well. Productivity increases, communication increased, decision-making was better. All in that 1 minute, 16-second video. There are some requirements for collaboration. And the first is an open culture where we're free to talk to each other. We don't always have that. We know firms that do have it because they have less offices and more cubicles, more free working spaces, more whiteboards or video whiteboards for collaboration. We have rooms available for it. We have the technology to be able to implement social enterprise tools. Our next slide just show us a few technologies to do so. We need a collaborative business culture coming from senior managers on down. We need policies and procedures and designs of these systems with training and retraining. We need smart building of groups. Our groups, quite frankly, I let Brightspace choose for us. Way back when I was first starting to teach, I let students form their own groups, and that would take weeks to get a group together. So I forced them on us, but frankly, that's how work will be when you leave Marist and go out in the real world. You're going to be in teams of people you may or may not know, those you may have worked with or not. And it's your place to be able to put your foot in that group and be able to make a difference. And I'm going to pause here before I move on. Our group projects should be a collaboration. They really shouldn't be group member 1 does this, group member 2 does that, group member 3 does that. We put it all together and we say, this is our group work for the project. We should meet, in our case, weekly because of the weekly nature of our assignments this semester. I know that may not be the case, but I would like you to try. And we're going to have some check-ins throughout the semester on how your collaboration is going. The best work will be if we're meeting, we're talking to each other, we're working ideas together, then we can build out what we're going to do for a particular delivery and be able to meet my expectations. I think we end the discussion this week with the IS department. In every organization of more than one person, we may have someone at the top level of our hierarchy running the ISID department. That person's a CIO. He or she may have someone under them known as a CTO or Chief Technology Officer. CIOs typically come from the business side of our organization, who have knowledge of data and how data works. The Chief Technology Officer, if there's one in the organization, will be an IT professional who has enough business knowledge to be able to entertain the CIO. Other jobs in the C-suite of our department is a CISO or Chief Information Security Officer, or also listed as CSO. I've never come across the next three, a chief knowledge officer, a chief privacy officer, a chief data officer, but I'm sure they exist in bigger organizations. As we move down the hierarchy, we have other lower level managers. We have programmers who sit at the middle layer of our hierarchy. System analysts are people from the business with an IT background. They align with business analysts to be able to bridge the gap between the business and IT. They're typically at the operational level, as are end users. Out of this whole slide, end users are the most important piece of the information system department because our end users drive everything anyone does on this slide. And that's it for this week. Please make sure we're meeting our deadlines. The chapter 2 work is up. I will put the link for this video up right now. And I hope you have a great week, and I'll talk to you next.